Hi, my name is Hannah Hilf, and today I will be teaching my 7th grade lesson plan on how to use appropriate phrasing when reading The Nutcracker. My goals for this lesson is that students will be able to learn to identify word origins and derivations. Students will identify and analyze figurative language. Students will use context and sentence structure to determine meanings and differentiate among multiple meanings of words, i.e. punctuation. Students will extend general and specialized vocabulary through speaking, listening, reading, and writing. Students will use prior and background knowledge as a context for new learning. Students will summarize text, relating supporting details. And students will use reading strategies and monitor comprehension throughout the reading process. I will start my lesson by beginning to read the first page of a Nutcracker. Then once I've read the first page following the correct pronunciation, I will show the student what I've done on my sheet of paper. The student will notice that I've colored each pronunciation mark with a different color, which helps them see the phrasing more clearly. For instance, yellow is for commas, which tells us to take a quick breath, lowering our pitch in how we speak, and then we read on. Blue is for exclamation points, which tells us to stop and raise our pitch as if we're excited. And green is for quotation marks, which means someone else is talking, so we change our voice to sound like them. Now I will begin to read the first page of a Nutcracker. It was Christmas Eve, and Fritz and Marie Stauber had been banned from the drawing room all day. The children sat waiting in the parlor, very excited and trying to be patient. As the evening shadows deepened eerily around them, Fritz told Marie, who was only 7, a secret. Since early morning he had heard strange noises coming from behind the doors. Rattlings and rustlings, tinkerings and hammerings. "What's more," whispered Fritz mysteriously, "I've seen a strange little man in black creeping around the house, carrying a big box." "Godpapa!" gasped Marie. "I wonder what he's brought us." Godpapa Dresslemere always gave him the most clever and pretty toys. He wasn't pretty himself, though. He was small and wiry and wrinkled, with a black patch over his right eye. He was bald, too, and wore a fine wig on top of his head. But he was very clever, so clever he knew everything about clocks and watches. Whenever one of Dr. Stauburn's clocks would stop working, Dresslemere came to the rescue. He would take off his wig and yellow jacket, put on his apron, and set to work with his sharp little instruments. Soon, the clock would be whirring happily again. Best of all was at Christmas, when he would make something wonderfully ignominious for the Stauburn family. This year, Marie thought it might be the magical lake a godfather once told her about, where a little girl fed shortbread to graceful swans. Fritz was sure the gift would be a huge fortress full of fighting soldiers. The children talked in hushed voices about their presents. Fritz wanted a fox for his ark and some hussars for his toy army. Marie hoped for a new doll. Suddenly they heard ting-a-ting-a-ling. Mama was ringing a little silver bell. The drawing room doors flew open and a brilliant light came flooding out. Imagine the magical sight that met the eyes! There stood the Christmas tree, decorated with gold and silver apples and sugar plums, and glittering with little candles. The whole room sparkled. Now that I have read the first page, there will now be a demonstration. I will have one of my 7th grade students come and show you the same process I did.
"Oh, how lovely," sighed Marie as she gazed in wonder at the tree. Fritz started jumping up and down with excitement. "Go on," said Mama, smiling. "Find out what the Christ child has brought for you, good children." The children ran here, there, and everywhere. Marie discovered the most beautiful dolls, all sorts of picture books, and pretty silk dress with colored ribbons hanging from one of the branches. Fritz found not only a fox, but a whole squadron of hussars, too. They wore red and gold uniforms with real silver swords, and they were mounted on fine white horses. The children calmed down a little and began to look at the picture books. Marie was enchanted with what she saw. There were strange flowers, lively portraits of people from all over the world, children laughing and playing. They looked so real. Soon, the parents called them to the table where something was hidden behind a green curtain. It was Godpapa's special present. The curtain drew back, and there stood a magnificent castle. It had sparkling windows and golden towers with bells that chimed. Doors and windows opened to reveal little ladies and gentlemen in long robes and plumed hats. They walked up and down inside the rooms of the castle, while tiny children in silk velvet gowns danced to the bells, and a man in green cloak popped out his head. Even a small model of Godpapa Drosselmeyer came to the castle doors. He was no bigger than your thumb. "Let me go inside," begged Fritz. "I'm afraid that's quite impossible, young man," said the real Drosselmeyer, shaking his head. "Then make them do something different," grumbled Fritz. When Drosselmeyer explained that the figures were part of a clockwork and couldn't do anything different, Fritz looked very disappointed. He thought they weren't half as good as the soldiers, which he could command as he pleased. So he wandered off to play with the squadron of hussars, and soon had them charging around in fierce combat. Even Marie, who was also bored but was too kind and gentle to show it, slipped away quietly. Drosselmeyer was rather offended until Miss Stahlhelm came to the rescue and asked him to show her how everything worked. Marie was nibbling a delicious gingerbread man when she noticed something she had seen before, sitting quietly under the Christmas tree. There was an odd little gentleman in a hussar's jacket.
Now we will go on to the echo part. Well, I will read the phrases and she will repeat it back to me. "Oh, how lovely," sighed Marie as she gazed in wonder at the tree.
"Oh, how lovely," sighed Marie as she gazed in wonder at the tree.
"Go on," said Mamma, smiling.
"Go on," said Mamma, smiling.
"Find out what Christ the child has brought for you, good children."
"Find out what the Christ child has brought for you, good children."
The children ran here, there, and everywhere.
The children ran here, there, and everywhere.
Marie discovered the most beautiful dolls, all sorts of picture books, and a pretty silk dress with colored ribbons hanging from one of the branches.
Marie discovered the most beautiful dolls, all sorts of picture books, and a pretty silk dress with the colored ribbons hanging from one of the branches.
Fritz found not only a fox, but a whole squadron of hussars, too.
Fritz found not only a fox, but a whole squadron of hussars, too.
They wore red and gold uniforms with real silver swords, and they were mounted on fine white horses.
They wore red and gold uniforms with real silver swords, and they were mounted on fine white horses.
Marie was enchanted at what she saw. There were strange flowers, lively portraits of people from all over the world, children laughing and playing.
Marie was enchanted with what she saw. There were strange flowers, lively portraits of people from all over the world, children laughing and playing.
They looked so real.
They looked so real.
They walked up and down and inside the rooms of the castle, while tiny children in silk and velvet gowns danced to the bells, and a man in a green cloak popped out his head.
They walked up and down inside the rooms of the castle, while tiny children in silk and velvet gowns danced to the bells, and a man in a green cloak popped out his head.
"Let me go inside," begged Fritz.
"Let me go inside," begged Fritz.
"I'm afraid that's quite impossible, young man."
"I'm afraid that's quite impossible, young man."
"Then make them do something different," grumbled Fritz.
"Then make them do something different," grumbled Fritz.
When Drusselmeyer explained that the figures were part of a clockwork and couldn't do anything different, Fritz looked very disappointed.
When Drosselmeyer explained that the figures were part of a clockwork and couldn't do anything different, Fritz looked very disappointed.
That they weren't half as good as the soldiers, which he could command as he pleased.
He thought they weren't half as good as the soldiers, which he could command as he pleased.
So he wandered off to play with a squadron of hussars, and soon had them charging around in fierce combat.
So we wandered off to play with the squadron of hussars and soon had them charging around in fierce combat.
Even Marie, who was also bored, was too kind and gentle to show it, slipped quietly away.
Even Marie, who was also bored but was too kind and gentle to show it, slipped quietly away.
And that concludes the echo part. So now the student has mastered the skill of being able to appropriately phrase when reading the Nutcracker or any of a novel.